take it away. Awesome. Ms. Chilson, all yours.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. I know that college and the high school and AP is, the season is upon us. So why we are here is because these deadlines come up very, very quickly in the fall. And so we know that with the deadlines, people are making big decisions about how they're going to move forward, if they're going to get these college credits. And so we want to help you with that as much as we can. So we wanted to just give you a snapshot of the deadline. So for example, University of Washington, their college and the high school has the earliest deadline. And we only have 2 classes that are University of Washington College and the high school class options. And the teachers do a great job of communicating about those early, since those come up much sooner than some of our other deadlines. In order to pay and register for an AP exam, the deadline is November 3rd. And then for most of our college and the high school classes are through EVCC. And there's multiple steps. So sometimes that can make it a little bit confusing, but we have applications due December 9th, registration no later than January 2nd, and payment is due by December 15th. So I just wanted to give you a really quick place to be able to access the tutorials for these. And so this slide has some more information as students are applying at EVCC, registering, and then also there's some good University of Washington registration instructions that you might want to come back to at some point if you are a student who is taking a University of Washington College and High School course in the future. So why are we here? It's because we really want to try and help you through this process. It can be very confusing, and some students have multiple options, and really they come a lot with questions, and we're really happy to help. And we want to make sure that we're including parents and guardians as part of these decisions, especially since every student is in a little bit of a different place with their decisions. You know, a lot of the decisions that they have to make with these college credits, they have to base them on some things that are unknown at this point, like if they've gotten into a specific college yet, what career they might want to do. So we acknowledge that it can be kind of confusing, and we're here to try as best as we can with that decision making. I wanted to start actually with an example, because I did work with a student and a parent who were a little surprised at how much the fees were. And so I just wanted to walk you through one example of how a counselor like me can help. And I love to help students with this. I find it kind of fun. And I usually go through kind of a process of finding out what's important to the student and or parent or guardian. So this student just happened to be taking one class that was an AP or UW, college and high school class. They are taking 2 AP or EVCC college and the high school classes, and then 1 EVCC just college and the high school class. So if this sounds overwhelming, I looked at the student schedule and said, wow, you are doing a lot of great things that you have a lot of opportunities with. But the parent was concerned about this price tag, and there are some options. So we'll be talking about those later too, but just wanted to give an example. So this student, if they only did college and the high school, this is still a reduced rate, but the parent was like, how can I get the cost down? And so when we talked about it, we knew that this student who was a junior took 2 AP tests last year and actually did quite well. So they knew that certain AP exams were, you know, they found that test taking was actually a skill for them. So the final decision that the parent and student came to is that they were going to take 2 AP exams in areas that they felt really confident and with test taking for, and then also do 2 EVCC college and high school classes. So hopefully that makes sense to you, but it was kind of a fun process to go through to help them out with that. And I just also want to acknowledge that that person did not qualify for free and reduced lunch, but a student in that same scenario with free and reduced lunch could potentially have all of those covered because we do have funding for AP exams. We have a waiver for that. The state helps us, but also College Board as well. And then also EVCC has a waiver for 2 5-credit classes. So just to kind of give you a different look at that scenario for somebody who might qualify for free and reduced lunch. So that is really fun for me to go through with people if they have questions or if they're trying to just figure it out. And I really truly want to leave the decision up to the student and parent or guardian, but sometimes I can just ask questions to help you as you're making that decision. Okay, so we have actually a lot of opportunities for either college or CTE credits. And so I just wanted to give you some ideas of where you can find that information. So for example, we do have an advanced course offerings page that has everything. It has AP, the classes that are both AP in college and the high school. We have the CTE dual credit list, and this is in our planning handbook. Just so you know, we are actually still updating this because we're still solidifying some things with colleges, and some of this can change. But normally we have this pretty dialed in close to the start of the year. So our website should have the most up-to-date version, and I'm always happy to provide that for you. I will also send this out as part of the email that will have this recording and also some of in the presentation so that you can access the links. But we also made a different version of that form I just showed you. And this is kind of I call it a quick view because it's organized just a little bit differently. And it's just the AP and the college and the high school options, and it's by college. So this one is by EVCC, UW, Edmonds College, the classes that we offer college and the high school through these universities or colleges, and also a list of just AP only. So sometimes this one, if you have it next to you, if you're doing some research about how these classes might transfer, it might be helpful for you to just kind of see that AP Physics is Phys 114 at EVCC. So that can just help you as you're going through and trying to make some of these decisions. Okay, so just to give you a very quick overview, we have CTE dual credit. That's one way to get advanced credits. Running Start, of course, is very popular. We have AP, and the AP exams is what helps earn those credits. And then college and the high school, which is just the grade that you earn in the class. So let's go on. The CTE dual credits, most of the ones that we have are through EVCC, but we also have some other options. And so here are some of our classes that can offer the career and technical education dual credits. There is a process. I did put EVCC's process on here, and that also includes application, a registration, and also a payment at the end. So most of the CTE options, you actually pay at the very end of the course, which is different than our AP and college and the high school options. Snow Isle has a lot of opportunities for credits and certifications. Snow Isle is great. If you want to explore those programs, you can click on this link. But we also will have a Snow Isle representative to talk to our sophomore classes on Halloween to tell them more about the programs for next year. And Running Start, I did go ahead and just put some of the dates for the Running Start information sessions through EVCC, which is our main or closest options for Lake Stevens High School students. They have their own information session, and then we actually have one in the spring for specific Lake Stevens High School. And counselors will meet with parents or guardians and the student in the spring, closer to the deadline date, right around the time of registration. So for Running Start, tuition-free credits, that can count for both high school and college, but these are the ones that are actually taken at EVCC or online through EVCC. Okay, and this is just a snapshot of Running Start quarters and the classes. So we work really hard to make sure these are clear for Running Start students. It's a great option, a great way to earn lots of credits while you're still in high school. Now, our focus tonight, though, is to discuss college in the high school and advanced placement, or AP. And just to kind of give you a snapshot, especially a lot of our courses that are both AP and college in the high school, they have a lot of similar characteristics. They are rigorous, they are taught by our staff that are vetted, and college admissions is looking at these courses as advanced courses that can offer not just credit, but also placement, and sometimes, most of the time, both. With AP, here are the differences. So the AP exam does happen in May. So it's the first 2 weeks of May. I put it costs around $100. It's $97, but if you're paying online, then you have a small fee too for that. So just kind of wanted to give you the average there, and I'll give you more specific in a minute. But for AP, public universities, there's a law that was passed that said that as long as a student gets at least a 3, they will earn some kind of credit. And for college and the high school, a student doesn't have to take any end of course exam. It's just their grade in the class. And if it's a year-long class, then the teacher will take the first semester grade and the second semester grade and then average that out. We do see a very high transfer rate in Washington State for our college and the high school courses. So we feel pretty confident that you will see success in transferring this to many colleges, if not most colleges, especially in state. So just to give you that idea of cost, especially EVCC is where most of our college and the high school classes go through, and that's $220. Which is a reduced rate compared to if you were to take that class at EVCC, or especially if you were going to take that class at a four-year university. So we understand that a student is just right here. They're just taking these AP and college and the high school courses now. Really, students cannot apply to colleges until they're a senior. They can't get accepted to colleges until normally the spring of their senior year. And so we know that we're asking them to make some decisions before they have a chance to do some of these other things that would help probably make some of these decisions easier. Since we can't see into the future, we have to essentially talk to the students about, well, what are your goals and what are you hoping to do? And let's see if we can look at that together and do the research together. So we're always happy to help with that. Just if you were a little bit confused about some of the things that I had on the last screen, admissions is the process that a college goes through in determining which applicants to accept. So for AP and college and high school benefits, this does allow you to distinguish yourself as taking more advanced courses, showing that you are ready for the college experience and to be successful in a four-year university. For placement, an example of this would be that if a student takes the AP chemistry exam, for example, and if they get a pretty good score on the AP exam, then not only would they just get like maybe the 3, which would give you some form of credit, but a 4 or 5 could, for example, earn a student like 2 5-credit classes and or into an honors chemistry class, for example. So this often allows you to skip entry-level college coursework if they see something on your transcript and or see that you got an AP score or college and high school credit for it. So we always do tell students that it might be helpful if they are talking to advisors at a college or university to bring a copy of their unofficial transcript to talk to them about it, or bring their AP scores when they meet with an advisor. Also, we do recommend that students keep copies of their syllabus from college and high school classes, because sometimes if a college isn't sure if they can accept this credit, the syllabus can help inform them about what they learned as part of that class. So instead of just going into 100 level classes, oftentimes AP and college and high school can help them skip ahead. So for credits, obviously, the more credits that you're able to transfer means that you're filling your bucket towards your degree. So this can save people a lot of money and time, which is awesome. So how do you pay and register for these things is also something that students have to take into consideration, just like what I said earlier about how I met with this, parent and student who were a little concerned about, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for all these things since they're all kind of coming due at the same time. So let me tell you a little bit more about that. For AP exams, the deadline is November 3rd. I did visit AP classrooms and I explained that students have to join the class on myap.collegeboard.org. Even if somebody has come in to purchase an AP exam, I actually can't order a test if they have skipped that first step. So don't worry, I give myself a little bit of time to bug people to get this done if they just didn't know or maybe weren't there that day when I explained it. But any a student or parent can come in person to pay. Melissa D is our business secretary. So in the main office, people can pay with cash, check, or card, $97 per test. So that could be either before or after school or during our 2 lunches. There is also a way to pay online, and that is very convenient. There is a $1.50 fee. It's just a one-time fee. And so that one is great because you can actually see your receipt if you log back onto that online payment site. So for students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, if you complete the transaction online, you will not have to pay the $1.50 fee, but it will automatically be in there as 0 if you do qualify for free and reduced lunch. If any part of that process is confusing to you, you are welcome to just reach out to me. Either that's my district cell phone listed, 360-913-2005, or feel free to email me and I will get you registered. So I promise to help you with that process if it becomes in any way confusing for you. Also to see if you're eligible, I'm happy to check that as well. So I'm going to let Aranza talk here in about 10 minutes or so about the EVCC college and the high school process. But we did already briefly talk about that there are multiple steps and some of them require a little bit of waiting. And we do always tell students, please don't wait until the last minute to get this done. As early as you can do this, students, if they've never applied before, they can apply now, and then they can hopefully get ahead of the rush, because last year, definitely a lot of students waited on this. Okay, so just to kind of recap here's the prices for the AP in college and high school, but I also wanted to explain that for AP, the cost is 0, unlimited number of exams, and then also how you actually get the proof of your AP scores is to order a score report. When you're taking the AP exam, students can send one free one to the college of their choice, but if they want it all on just one report, they can just order one for $15 once they've finished and they have taken all their AP exams and gotten the results. For college and the high school, for free and reduced lunch students, they can access 2 5-credit classes with a waiver form. So the waiver form does need to be filled out and emailed in. And then there are deferred payment plans. So if finances are an issue, or if you're concerned about how much, all at the beginning of the year, let's talk about the possible deferred payment plans for students for EVCC. Okay, so I also get questions all the time. Will my credits transfer? And we unfortunately don't always get results because once our students leave us, unless they choose to come back and visit us, which is kind of tricky, we don't hear back exactly how students' credits have transferred. However, we typically, when we do hear back from students, we hear really positive things. Every university does have sole discretion in whether or not credits will transfer, and it's appropriate to the student's degree program. However, in most cases, we do see these credits transfer. And just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like, I know this is really small writing on a lot of my slides, so thank you for your patience with that. So I did try to make this just a little bit bigger. For AP exams, here's the credit awarded for AP. So this student had 3, right? And they have an S, they don't have a specific grade, but they did earn the 5 credits here. So just to kind of give you an idea of what that would look like for transferring AP scores. And then we also have a transcript for college and the high school. So to just kind of zoom in a little bit here, we have, if you could ignore the chemistry one and just look at the history and pre-calculus, we have math 142, for example, with the 5 credits, and there is a letter grade there. US history for 146, 5 credits for US history 1. So just to give you an example of how those differ in terms of once you have transferred them onto a college transcript. Okay, so how do you choose between college and the high school and AP? We're definitely seeing more people kind of move towards the college and the high school, especially during, COVID and some of the, kind of challenges. We had to do tests online for a year, which was interesting. The tests are all paper and pencil again for AP exams. But for example, one of the questions that I would ask someone is, are you a good test taker? I definitely have some students who take AP exams in some ways to kind of compete with people around the country. How good can I do on this AP exam? So if somebody's a really good test taker, AP might be a great option for them to consider. And what kind of student are you? We do have a lot of students who are like, gosh, I wish it wasn't just based on an exam because I really felt like I did great in this class. And that student might want to consider college and the high school, maybe lean towards that more. What grades do you normally have in advanced classes? So Arantxa and I talked a little bit about this before we started the webinar, that even though you're going to get credit with a grade below a C, we do just kind of advise in general that you should be aiming for a C or better in your college and the high school credits so that you can also continue with that placement and move on to the next level. So other considerations, just what's going to happen the day of the test, of course, is often a concern. We do have plans if someone gets sick or has an emergency or has a conflict like a sporting event or something like that. And then a lot of people do consider the financial considerations. Fee waivers and payment plans, of course, help out a lot with that. So let us help you with that if you're confused. And then also, what are your post-high school intentions? I had a student who came in and she said, I don't think I'm going to do college in the high school for this class because I think I just really need to take it again at the college level. And, some people just want to have that experience actually at the university, especially if it's very relevant to their major. So it just depends on the student and what their comfort level is. And so these are types of questions or things that I might discuss with a student if they come in and they're trying to choose. Okay, so just to kind of go back to that timeline again, when students are applying to colleges, then, obviously they can have it a little bit more narrowed down. I do see students who, right from the get-go know their top 2 colleges or universities that we can research. But for some tips for research, sometimes it is really helpful to at least have some ideas, and then I can help you just do a little bit of research to get you started. So let me kind of skip ahead here. So how do you start this research when you might not know which college you want to go to? Sometimes I might just take a sampling with you. I might say, okay, if you're not sure yet, let's just take a look. How might this credit transfer to Western? So here's just the site that Western has, and all I did was Google transfer equivalency Western Washington, and then I do have this link. I will post this presentation so you have access to these links. And then if you see, we did have to just choose an institution. So I knew that the one we were looking at was US History. So Everett Community College, History 146 is one of the 5 credit classes that US History can cover. And then I clicked Show Equivalencies, and it shows up as how it would count at Western, how it would transfer. So these can be really helpful just to get an idea like, oh yeah, you have a very good chance of this transferring, which is awesome. Here's another example from Central. So I just chose French this time just because, but I had Googled transfer equivalency in Central Washington. And when I chose EVCC French 122, this is how it would transfer for Central. All right. And then this slide has like lots of different, like if you just click on the name of the university, you can see what people will earn, how the credits will transfer based on their AP score. So this could be really helpful if you're considering the AP exam, how those would transfer. If I had a student come in and we were looking at California colleges and we were just not having a lot of luck finding information. So I recommended to that student that they go on the website for the college and reach out to the admissions representative or counselor. So for example, if you sometimes it's effective to send an email, sometimes you can call. Many websites have like chat with the counselor or connect with us virtually. Miss LaFortune often has virtual visits or visits from college representatives, just like once or twice a year. And so you can request information. A lot of students get more information through either a virtual tour or in-person tour. So these are just ways that you can get the information in real time and actually talk to someone from that college. I just wanted to give you a couple of ideas, though, of some research that I've done with students over the years. So, for example, all of these are from University of Washington. And so for AP Lang, which is at EVCC, it's English 101. At UW, if a student does college in the high school, then that will transfer as English 131, a 5-credit English course. And it includes a C. That's not the grade, that's just a designation that it includes the composition as a category. An AP exam for AP Lang, if a student gets a 3, 4, or 5, it will also transfer as a 5-credit English class. So both good options, but most people would probably opt for the college and the high school for this one because it does include just a little extra if they know that they really want to go to the University of Washington. For this one, AP Calc AB, college and the high school will earn or transfer as 10 credits, where AP, a 3, 4, or 5 will transfer as 5 credits. AP chemistry, just to kind of give you an idea, we don't have a college and the high school option, but what kind of AP score do you have to get? Well, a 3 earns you a 5-credit course, but a 5 gets you 3 5-credit courses. And AP scores 3 through 5 can also count as placement for honors chemistry 145. So just to give you some ideas of how these credits would transfer. Western, I'm not going to necessarily go through these, but you can see for AP Gov, an example with college and high school or AP, pretty much the same as long as a student gets a 3 or above. And for AP Lang, it's a little bit different. So for a 3, it's an elective at Western, or 4 or 5 is English elective, and then English 101 is waived. So as long as somebody gets a 4 or 5, then it's about equal there for that course. What about colleges out of state? Well, it just depends on the university. So I did a practice last year where I had a lot of AP Lit students who just essentially told me, and I just wrote it down, which universities they were considering and how this might transfer. And then I just kind of made it my goal, and we shared it with the class to just do that research. So sometimes I looked on their site, sometimes I emailed the admissions rep, and these are just some examples of what I found. And so, for Stanford, for example, the college and the high school cannot be transferred if credits were also considered high school grad requirements. Only some limited AP could count, but not AP Lit, for example. So I'm happy to do this research with you. And of course, my goal is always to help the students practice so that they can also do this on their own. Okay, so I have college credit through one or more of these programs. Now what? Well, I think this is kind of the fun part, right? When students are finishing up and have all of their programs completed, whether that's college and the high school or AP or CTE or anything like that, they do have to generally request an official transcript from either EVCC, UW, or Edmonds College. And then they do also have to order a score report for AP. And then they take those to normally the process is that they submit that to the registrar of the college or university for a review. And sometimes that review can take like up to weeks to be completed, but it's really wonderful. They will often send that out by email or meet with students to go over that with them. And then that's really exciting that they can cross off some stuff from their list. So I'm not going to show this video, but I'm going to leave it on here. This was during masking and COVID, so it is not the best video quality, but Kelsey Mark was our UW representative last year, and she just answered some questions that kept coming up for students. It's about an 8-minute long video. So if you want to go back and watch this out of our presentation, that will be shared with you hopefully by tomorrow, and you can just click through the slides and then click here to watch it. All right, so Arantxa, thank you so much for coming and being here with us tonight. And I know you're going to talk about college and the high school, and then also after Arantxa presents, then we will have some opportunities for questions from everybody who's here.
Can I jump in just for a second?
Of course.
So folks, if you're unfamiliar with the webinar, just down on somewhere on your bar, there's a couple of chat bubbles clumped together and it says Q&A. So if you have questions from what Ms. Chilson has presented, or if you're having questions from what Ms. Gallegos is going to present to us, you're welcome to pop that in there. We're probably not going to go ahead and answer those until we get to the question and answer portion, but just know that we will get to them at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Emily, can I share my screen now?
Mr. Alderson, are you able to give her sharing ability?
Yes, I believe you do have it.
Okay, that happened really quick. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here tonight. I just like to say that Everett Community College and Lake Stevens High School just have a very wonderful relationship. So thank you to Dan and Emily for inviting me tonight. Mrs. Chilson has gone over all the great benefits of college and the high school. So I'm really just going to talk about how to apply to Everett Community College in order to earn these college credits. So one thing I really want to make clear is that even though a student may be in a college and the high school eligible class at Lake Stevens High School, the student still has to apply, register, and pay for the class through the community college or the University of Washington, or sometimes Edmonds College. College in the high school is optional, as it has been sort of outlined throughout tonight's presentation. And so the college credit is guaranteed as long as you register for the class and pay for your college credit. In terms of application, we require all of our college and high school students to apply to Everett Community College to ensure that you have an Everett Community College student account so that we are able to create a college transcript for you. We actually have 2 application and 2 registration cycles. The reason being is that there are different types of classes that we consider for registration. For example, if your class is a college and high school eligible class where you can earn college credit in 1 semester or your first semester, or you're in a college in the high school eligible class that is a year-long class, and a lot of these classes tend to be your history and your math classes, then you're going to be registering for those classes in what we call the winter quarter. There are some college and the high school classes where you can only earn that college credit in the 2nd semester of your high school academic calendar. And so students will register for those classes in the spring quarter. So I'll be saying a lot of winter and spring quarters, and that is just essentially the college jargon that I'm using. But when it comes to the application, students who are intending to register for their first semester and their year-long college and the high school classes should apply by December 9th in order to ensure that you have sufficient time to register for your first semester and year-long classes. If a student is only interested in gaining college credit for their second semester classes, then they have to apply by March 10th for the spring quarter. The majority of students apply to register for the winter quarter or those first semester year-long classes. You only need to apply once if you're going to register for classes for both quarters. And if this sounds a little bit confusing, please do not hesitate to reach out to your counselor, the college and the high school staff. We'd be more than happy to try and simplify this even further for you. If you are a new student to EVCC, and I do have a slide on what defines the different student types, you do have to submit the EVCC online application. And we have very detailed steps on our college and the high school website. And the reason that we have these steps is because we want to be able to identify you as a college and the high school student and ensure that your application is processed for college and the high school. And you will know that your application has been successfully processed for the college and the high school program because you will receive a college and the high school acceptance email from us. And this email will have like our deadlines. It will say college and the high school all over it. So that's how you know that that is an email from our program and that you have been accepted. Please apply as early as possible. If you're able to, we just want to make sure that you have sufficient time to register for your classes. And if there are any technical issues, we'd rather know sooner rather than later. If you are a student that already has an EVCC student account because you participated in Running Start or maybe in CTE dual credit, you do not have to reapply to the college. And so this chart, which is also included on our website, is our attempt to sort of break down what your next step for applications will be. So a new college and the high school student is a student that does not have an EVCC student account and has never registered for any EVCC classes. There might be some of you who have an account with Edmonds or Cascadia College. That's great, but that does not mean that you have an account with EVCC. So if you've never registered for any of our classes or applied, you are considered a new college and the high school student. You are considered a returning college and the high school student if you applied to our program last year and registered for classes. You are also considered a returning college and the high school student if you applied last year but did not register for your classes, either because you chose not to register or maybe you missed the deadline. But essentially, you already have an existing EVCC student account. If you fall under this student type, do not reapply. All you have to do is wait for registration to open and just register for your college and the high school classes. Lake Stevens High School is very fortunate to have a lot of EVCC Running Start students, which means they have a lot of students with existing EVCC student accounts. If you are a current or a past EVCC Running Start student or CTE dual credit student, which means that you already have an existing account with us, you do not need to reapply for the college and the high school program, even though this might be your first year applying for the college and the high school credit. All you have to do is email the college and the high school staff with your name, your CTC link ID number, your high school, and your high school grade, so we can update your student account. And then you'll be able to register for your classes, so you do not need to reapply. We do have some underage students who do not participate in our Running Start program that take classes with us at the college. Same criteria applies. You do not have to reapply if you are an EVCC underage student. We just have to get your account updated so that you can register for your classes. The reason that I'm highly emphasizing to not reapply is because reapplying can really set you behind if you already have an account that exists and all you really have to do is register, but you're waiting to hear back from us. It can also create a backlog of applications for us if we have a lot of students just reapplying. If you do not know your CTC link ID number, you can always send an email to college and the high school staff, and then we will walk you through the steps on how to get that information, or we can play 20 questions with you to give out that information as well. So that's how to apply. Once you have successfully applied or you already have a CTC Link ID number with Everett Community College, then you'll be able to register for your classes. As I mentioned earlier, we have 2 registration periods. These are the winter and the spring. I'm definitely going to focus more on the winter. Please note that each registration period is about 7 weeks, and it aligns with the deadlines of the college. So all you're really going to have to do is just register online for your classes. Please do not panic. If you've applied, but you still don't have your account information by November 15th, you can still register on Thanksgiving. You can register on December 1st. You can even register on Christmas if you want. You have about 7 weeks to register for your classes. We are still currently in the process of building our college and the high school classes for the winter quarter. We are expecting to have our list or our spreadsheet of classes available this Friday. I'm not going to give a time because some people will hold on to the time, but it will be available this Friday for you to look through. Your high school teachers will also be provided with the class number of their class, and the spreadsheet will also have that class number and name and credit information so that you are able to access it at any point when you are not at your high school. Please note that college and high school classes are not available in the EVCC class schedule. The class information is only going to be available on the spreadsheet that we will have on our website. And all you really have to do is look for the Lake Stevens tab and make sure that you find your instructor and the class that you are in. If you are unsure which class it is that you're supposed to select, please ask your high school teacher because they have that information and they should know what is their class information for you to be able to register. Because of the nature of registration, where you have to register using a class number, students do need to utilize the CTC Link mobile app or the mobile website. This is really because you have to register with a class number. We do have that information on our website, and if you have any issues, please let us know, and we would be more than happy to help you. And please remember that you can only register for the classes you're currently in at your high school. So if you are in AP Calculus, and that is an AP Calculus class that is eligible for college and high school, you're more than welcome to register for that class. But if you took AP History last year and were unable to register for classes, you're not able to register for classes this academic year. Once the registration deadline passes, retroactive registration is not permitted. This is a college policy. It's also a policy with our accreditation, which is the national accreditation that we have. We're not trying to be bad guys, but we do have registration deadlines. So please keep that in mind. And please make sure that you register for all the classes you want. We do hear stories from students and parents saying like, I registered for 4 classes, but I forgot the 5th class. Can I register now for it? Unfortunately, you are unable to do so. So please make sure you know what classes you're going to be registering for. And again, you do have those 7 weeks. So you can decide whether or not you actually want the college credit. And if you do register for a class, please know that you are also able to drop the class. So there's a lot of options and a lot of flexibility, I would say, for adding and dropping classes within our registration periods. So most of our classes are 5 credits. And the cost for a 5-credit college class through college and high school is $220. If you were to take a 5-credit class at the college, it'd be around $600. And that's not including class and student fees. But there might be some classes that are either less than 5 credits or more than 5 credits. And so we'd like to also say that it's $44 per credit. So there's a lot of ways to do this. And it has already been mentioned that we do offer a fee waiver for eligible students. So any student who qualifies for free or reduced meals or receives state or federal assistance, you are able to apply for this waiver. It covers 2 5-credit classes or up to $440 per year. So if you're in college and high school, every single year of your high school career, you can apply for the fee waiver and get up to $4,400 $100 waived by us. Please note that you do have to re-register for your classes in order for us to process your fee waiver, but it's always good to start getting your documentation ready and the fee waiver request form ready before you send it to us. Now that we have transitioned into our new system, which is CTC Link, students now have the opportunity to pay online with a credit card after they've registered for their classes. They can also pay by phone or send a check. And we do have a tuition payment plan. What the payment plan does is that it will allow parents and students to sort of spread out their payment. There is a deadline for when a student has to sign up for the tuition payment plan. It's actually the same deadline as our fee waiver, so January 6th for those that are applying for the winter 2023. And so what this entails is that a student has to pay a $10 payment plan fee, and then half of the cost for the classes upfront, but then they will have about, like, I'm going to say 4 to 6 weeks to come up with the rest of the cost. There is a deadline for making the final tuition payment plan payment in CTC Link. So please make sure that you're looking at our important dates and deadlines on our website, but it's really just to help families kind of spread out the payment, especially if you are someone that is signing up for multiple classes. We have seen students get 30 to 40 credits just in one academic year, and we just want to be able to provide some form of like financial support or stretching it out. So please keep this in mind. You might notice that our payment deadlines are prior to the end of our registration deadline. That means that after the payment deadline, students will have to pay within 2 business days. And on our website, we have a variety of how-to guides, how to apply, how to register, how to pay. They are Google Slides, so you should be able to access them at any point. We know that sometimes we're not going to be available at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night. So we wanted to create these guides to really help you go through the whole process. If you find yourself stuck on any of these steps, please let us know. You have amazing counselors at Lake Stevens, but they're not really going to be able to help you with any technical issues with your college account. And it's better to let us know early or sooner rather than later, because what tends to happen is that students will try to contact us the day before registration ends, and we're unable to help them because the registration deadline is coming and has passed. So please do not wait like 2 months to ask for help. Just do it as soon as you come across an issue. We're more than happy to help you, and we love emails more than anything. I do just want to, oh, that's our email. I have my slide here. I do want to mention that once you register for your classes and you officially become a college and high school student with EVCC, you'll have full access to our resources like the Advising Center, our Counseling Center, our Writing Center, our Tutoring Center. So if you need additional support while you are in your college and high school classes, you are able to access them as a college and high school student. And as Ms. Schulson had mentioned throughout her presentation, there's a lot of questions about how will my credits transfer? And this is a great opportunity for students to visit our advising center, whether it's in person or virtually. They do drop-in advising and kind of start asking those questions. We have the resources. Please utilize them because we really, really want to help you all. And that's me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Arantxa, I know one question I got today was about students who are in multiple college and the high school courses. After a certain amount, is there a Google form that they have to fill out if they exceed a certain number of credits or limit?
There is, and I am just going to navigate to our webpage.
Perfect.
Under how to apply and register for college and the high school, again, we have all this information that I went through in my brief presentation, but under step 2, under registration, there is this link to the college and the high school maximum credit form. It will open on November 15th. Our system only allows students to register up to a maximum of 20 credits online. We know that there are a lot of college and high school students who, again, want to do more than 20 credits or are currently in Running Start and they want to add college and high school credits that might put them over the 20 credits. Once you have registered for your 20 credits, you just have to submit this form. It's currently closed, but it's essentially going to ask you for the class information of those additional credits that you want to register for. Please note that this is not a registration form. This is really only to help students who need to go over the 20 credit maximum for online registration.
Perfect. Hey, if I could keep that site up just for a moment. One of the people asked about where can I find the waiver form? And I see the waiver form there. And we also have copies of it in the counseling center. So if anybody wants to just stop by and grab, like if a student can stop by and pick up a copy, if I run out of copies, I'm happy to print one. That's super easy, but it is on the EVCC website. So I also do have the link on my presentation. And so once I post that tomorrow, you should have access to it. You just have to go through all my slides. We also have another question about, I'm a Running Start student and I'm taking pre-calculus. So thank you, Aranza. I think you did answer that. You know, I saw that for a student who is a current Running Start student who might be also taking like one class with us, and in this case, it's pre-calc, then you just have to email some information to the college and the high school website to make sure that your account will allow you to register. So great question. How you request a transcript either for college and the high school or Running Start classes is on the EVCC website. And honestly, you probably want to wait to do the official transcript until you are completely done with your credits, unless somebody is asking for that earlier. So just to give you an idea, that is something that you usually get, you know, at the end when you're done with your credits. We did have a question about Running Start is free to everyone. Just wanted to confirm. The tuition is covered. And if a student is part-time, then we do have to make sure that we are filling out what's called the verification form correctly. So I do have some students who like took just a little bit more and then they did have to pay some tuition. So that's why we have a meeting to really work with you on that to make sure that your tuition is covered. And then there are always fees. So just so you know, Running Start is not completely free, but it's pretty close. So we'll talk with you about that like in a counselor, parent or guardian and student meeting. There's a question about, I am currently in pre-calc and was told I could get college credits. That is correct. Now, you have to do the process for the college and the high school like we've talked about tonight. So just taking pre-calc alone makes you eligible for credits, but you do still have to follow these steps. So pre-calc is not an AP class. It is a college and the high school class. And so pre-calc can actually earn, if you follow the steps and register and pay on time, then you can get 2 5-credit classes, Math 141 and 142. Mm-hmm. So that one is a lot. Do the deadlines apply to sophomores who are taking AP classes? Yes. So for example, if you are signing up for an AP exam, we ask that you pay by November 3rd to register for the exam. And then if you are doing the college and the high school, then yes, you have to follow all the steps like a new applicant. So most sophomores are new applicants, and December 9th, you really want to have your application in. And we just want to make sure that we, and I know we both said this a few times, please do this start this process early. And if you don't get anything back from EVCC for a while, please come see us, but it does take some time. So I think EVCC does a great job of putting on their website, it's taking about this long, like for example, like 2 weeks. And sometimes it can take longer in the really, really super busy time. So please try to be patient, but you should get an acceptance email. And Aranza, I believe people get thank you for applying email also right after their application is submitted. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, they'll get more of a like a box that says thank you. You submitted your application. Um, because we have to update student accounts for them to be college in the high school, it is very possible for students to get an email from our enrollment services office with like their CTC link ID number, which is great, and sort of this messaging of, hey, you've been admitted. So there might be a lot of confusion if you get that email, but you have to make sure that you get the college and the high school acceptance email. Again, that is the one that will have college and the high school just written all over. This ensures that you submitted the application correctly following our instructions, and that we have updated your account and that you're going to be good to go.
Perfect. Just a thought about which email to use. If you're using your Lake Stevens email, part of our internet agreement is that no student can receive an email from outside the LK Stevens system. That's just part of our protection. So I would encourage you to use a personal or a home email for that. Otherwise, they will send the email to you and it will never get to you.
Very true. With Lake Stevens.
I'm not sure why some of my students have gotten emails and some of them have not with their student ID. I don't know if that's always the case, but it seems like sometimes if I'm CC'd on it, then the student can see it. So sometimes maybe that helps it become possible. But yes, using your personal email is always preferred because that's a much more guaranteed route that you can communicate, and that will help you after you're done and after you're graduated from high school, have that communication to access your credits. So we have a question. Do you take the course first and then apply, register? No, you are actually going to apply and register while you're taking the courses. So if you're not sure if the courses that you're taking are actually AP or college in the high school, please feel free to stop by the counseling center. I'll give you a copy of that quick view or the list of AP and college in the high school options. You can also access that on our planning handbook or our website. But of course, we love to see people come into the counseling center and ask questions about this. So we'd love to see you stop on by. When can sophomores apply for Running Start? Great question. Sophomores can apply for Running Start in the spring, and we normally see the like first early bird deadline in mid-April, and then usually early May. I don't know if those deadlines are actually set yet. But Aranza, are you willing to tell us what that's going to look like to a student who has applied as a college and the high school student, but then wants to do Running Start for next year?
Yes, great question. Even though you might already have an EVCC student account with us, we are most likely going to ask you to still submit an application for the Running Start program. The reason being is we have to update your student account for Running Start, because Running Start students have to complete the enrollment process, like orientation and entry advising. So we will be sending out communication to our college and our high school students about next steps for applying for Running Start. But as it was mentioned, in the spring, I would say around February or March is when you should be applying to the Running Start program. The reason being is that we want to make sure we have at least some form of your final first semester grades on your high school transcript for your current year. We do need to look at your transcript for English and math placement. So around February and March is when you should be applying, and I highly recommend that you attend the Running Start webinar that Lake Stevens High School usually does every year, or one of our information sessions.
It is extremely helpful, and I often ask people to go to an info session before I meet with them, because it just helps tremendously to have that foundation knowledge and then know how it can apply to you.
Mhm.
We do have one final question, and I think it's a really good one. When will this presentation be posted? So I'm happy to get it all ready. Mr. Alderson, is there any way, can I ask you to upload the video and have it ready for me maybe before the end of the day tomorrow? Is that possible?
Absolutely possible.
Awesome. Okay, so what I'll do is I will email out a couple of things. I'll email out the presentation, the video. I believe we upload it to YouTube so that you can watch it like pretty much anywhere. And then I will also have some dates for when I will be available to help you in the Career Center during lunch and also after school if you need any help with like the college and the high school process. Now those dates will be after the AP exam deadline. So just so you know, that AP exam deadline is November 3rd. And then we have until December to kind of wrap up the either full year or first winter quarter, like for example, pre-calc is both first semester and second semester. So you have to do the first semester as part of this first round by December, and wrap up everything very beginning of January. So thank you so much. Yeah, great questions, everyone. I so appreciate your time to spend it with us and figure some of this out. And then, of course, any meetings that you need. I do have a slide at the very end of my presentation. I'm not going to put it up just for time, of counselor names and emails. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to direct you to either your counselor. I'm happy to help you with college and high school and AP stuff also. So thank you so much.
All right, folks, we really appreciate you being here. We're going to go ahead and close out our meeting. And again, I'll get this uploaded, and Ms. Chilson will send out the information as she stated. Arancia, thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate the strong partnership between LSHS and EVCC. Thanks, folks.
Good night.